Are you ready to make some bracelets? How about 6 bracelets? 6 upcycled bracelets. If you're new to the channel, I'm Vicki, and today we're going to upcycle some thrifted bracelets and turn them into what? New bracelets. How's that? In fact, we're going to make 6 of them in this video. And because it is a long video, because you know, when I make my videos, I show you some of the trial and errors of my ways in making the jewelry, and because I changed my mind along the way. That's what we do when we make jewelry, right? We change our minds. We try this, we try that, until we're happy with it. And that's what happened in this video. If you're new to the channel, I'm Vicki. Welcome. And if you're coming back, thank you for that too. I really appreciate it. And with all that said, let's get started. I've been gathering up bracelets here and there, and I thought, you know what? It's time to take apart all of these bracelets that I have here and make new bracelets. But first, let's take a closer look at them. I know they look really pretty just like they are, but you know, I can't leave well enough alone. That's not what we do here. Okay, so what do we have here? This bracelet is on wire, and I bought this because I like to take these apart and use all of the little beads for spacer beads. This bracelet is also on memory wire, and you can see we have some copper tones, we have some red beads, we have some little baubles here, and some round beads. This one is all shell, and this is on 2 pieces of stretch elastic. This one has light green beads and silver, again on stretch elastic, and this one is gray and off-white, again stretch. And these are actually stones. We have some beautiful pink stones, and it has a very odd clasp because it has 2 lobster clasps here. I found that a little bit different. I picked up all of these at thrift stores, and I don't have much in any of them. So this is what we're going to work with today. We're going to take them apart and make some new bracelets. I've cleaned all the bracelets. They're all in good condition. They just needed a damp wipe. So let's take them apart. And that means cutting the stretch elastic. I actually find these type of bracelets quite frequently. A little glue in here. That's a good thing. I'm just going to set that one aside. But look how beautiful these mother of pearl shells are. Just gorgeous. How about this easy one here? These beads are, well, they're not metal. I think the gray ones are wood, and this one is stone. I'll put on the screen here what type of stone. Sometimes my mind goes blank when I'm in the middle of getting ready to make some jewelry. Don't have a lot of these. This is what we have to work with. And then this one here has some metal beads, and these green ones, stone. I think these are stone too. They might be dyed. Not a whole lot on this one to work with. And these pink stones are probably some type of dyed jade. Very unusual that they use 2 lobster clasps. I think this is a handmade bracelet by someone, and you can see how roughly the wire is wrapped. So it's actually not all that comfortable. I am going to use my memory wire cutters because I don't know what type of wire they used. It might be memory wire. I love the pink stones. Got this for $2. And now that I have this apart, I'll probably take some time and clean a little better on the ends of each hole. You can see how rough they are. So give those a better wipe down. Sometimes it's easier after they're separated. And then we have this memory wire bracelet that has all kinds of beads on it. And honestly, we could just cut the wire here and make a loop and have a bracelet, and cut the wire here, and we could make multiple bracelets just by separating this into sections, but that's not what I'm going to do. And we have a little charm on here. Does it say anything? Nope, just a little charm. Let's take our flat nose pliers, and I guess I could start at this end. Open this loop sideways. It keeps fighting me. I wonder why it keeps fighting me. It's memory wire. It remembers to keep its shape even when I don't want it to. We're probably going to make some memory wire bracelets today. With our memory wire cutters, you do know you cannot use just regular cutters on memory wire or you will damage them. I hope you believe that and don't just think that your cutters will be different, because they'll get ruined. Okay, this is going to be a little more challenging to take apart. At least going to take a little longer. How's that? So I will probably just fast forward through this part. How's that? And play a little music. Okay, I had a few beads go here and there. I think one ended up over on the floor. That's what sweepers are for. But quite a few beads to work with. And looks like we have some stone, and those might be plastic with an orange coating, but we do have some metal beads and some seed beads. Really pretty colors. And then this one is a little more tedious to take apart. I need to start with getting the end wire opened up and removed. I need to get to the point where I can just cut that, but I want to get it opened up a little more. I think I'm ready to cut it. Trying to get the little doodad off the end. I'd like to straighten this out a little more. You know, memory wire is tough. So I've got a variety of tools here to try to get this started. Make sure you cover it so it doesn't go flying. This wire is bent, so I'm going to try to straighten that. I'm showing you in case you ever need to do this. Some of the things that you might run into. I don't know that it's going to straighten out, so I'm going to try cutting it again. Now, now we're ready, and beads are going to go flying. No, they're not. What was I thinking? I only got that part out. I have all of these loops that I have to undo. 3, 6, 9, 12, 13 of these. 13 rows, and it looks like there's wire woven in and out. I don't need to free up all of these today. That would take quite some time, but I need to free up most of them. All right, I'm going to take a break from the camera and get some more of these apart and get these wiped down a little bit better, and I'll be right back. I've got one undone, and as I told you, it's woven across here. So what I'm going to do is pull this wire back through so that I don't even have to think about unweaving that wire. I'm just going to keep pulling it back through each of these cross wires here. That's about the easiest way to do this. But I'm getting some of them. And if you don't want to have to thread that much wire through, just cut off part of it, shorten it up, and make it easier. So that would be one down and several more to go. Some of these are different sizes. I thought they'd all be the same size, but they're not. I guess I shouldn't be surprised by that. That's quite common. I am going to free up some more. So again, I'll be right back. I'm going to stop here. I've got a couple of them released here. 3, I guess. If I need more, I'll take more off later in the video, but this is what we have. So here's our assortment of pretty beads to upcycle. And as I said, I might go ahead and reuse this memory wire. Give that a try. In fact, what I would do, well, let's set these out of the way so you can see. What I like to do with memory wire is let these cross over. Lately, I've been allowing it to cross over at least half the length of the bracelet, but that's where I'm going to cut it. And of course, I have more memory wire if I need it. Now that I look at it, can you see that it's out of shape? It's not perfectly round here. That's because of all the stretching of it on and off. I mean, it remembers to keep its shape, but that doesn't mean it keeps perfectly aligned. So for that reason, I'm now going to just get some new memory wire. And when I say new, I mean new. It comes in a couple of different sizes. What I typically have is my memory wire is about 2 1/4. This is kind of the standard size, but they do make a child size. So if you have very tiny wrists, check into that. I just need to find the end, or the beginning, whichever you want to call it. Here it is. This happens to end right here. So I'm kind of eyeing up on the wire underneath right here. I'll show you after I cut it. When I made bracelets to sell and I knew exactly what I needed, I didn't allow this much overlap. But when I'm making something new, I found it's a lot easier to have that little extra to work with. And then I have more flexibility as to how long I want to make it. So here's our wire. And as I said, it overlaps about half of the bracelet width, for now anyway. Are you ready to get started? I know I am. And oh my gosh, I don't know where to start. I'll tell you what, I do have an idea of where I can start. If you watch my other channel, Vintage Vicky, I went into a local Goodwill store and I decided to look through the clothes, the women's clothes, for two reasons. One reason was for color inspiration, colors and patterns. And the other reason, well, was to see if I could find a new top for myself. And the first top that caught my eye was just hanging there. And it was gray and pink. And it was so pretty. It was a sweater. Not my size medium. I had no interest in buying it for the sweater. But boy, did the colors catch my attention. So I quickly took a photo of it. And I think that's going to be my inspiration for this first bracelet. You can find inspiration just about anywhere, just like my recent video where I went to Lowe's and saw that pillow and then went to the paint department to pick out the colors for the pillow and brought the paint samples home. There was no charge for that. And I didn't really need the pillow. I was just going over to look at furniture because we finally got our deck stained. I mean, Mark still has a little bit of finishing to do to it, but our deck is almost completely done. It might be completely done today as I'm making this video. Anyway, my point is inspiration is everywhere, just like the pink and gray sweater that I saw in Goodwill. So since we have pink and we have gray and we have silver here and there, well, let's see what we can do with this. And I'm not going to put a loop on either end until I figure out my pattern. And do you see what the new memory wire looks like versus the old? And then this other was really rusty. So let's start with a beautiful pink stone. I'm going to set aside some of these because I think it's a little busy here right now. I'm just going to have these three available. So beautiful pink stone. Do I want to use the black in the center? I don't know. Let's try it. Maybe. Oh, I don't want to go right to that. Let's go to the gray. If we do put the black in the center, put the gray on each side and then a pink. It's all about playing, all about experimenting until you like it. So that would be at the top of the wrist. It makes the black the focal point for sure. Let's add a couple more beads before we decide yay or nay on this. I know one thing, that Good and Plenty bracelet that I made in my last video where I upcycled bracelets into 5 new bracelets, I was surprised by the response I got to that Good and Plenty. In fact, it sold right away to one of our viewers, so thank you very much for that. I am not that crazy about what I have here so far. I'm not sure that I want to make the black bead the focal point. I didn't promise that I wasn't going to bring in any other beads, so if I have another focal point bead, I could do that. But let's just put 3 of these pink beads on here. And then let's put 3 of the gray to the side, each side, and see what that looks like. It's kind of interesting. I don't know that I'd want these on the lower part of my wrist. They might be a little bit uncomfortable once they get past halfway, but I'm just going to study that for a minute. Still not feeling it. I don't know if feeling it is the right word, but I'm still not seeing it. These stones are not perfect. One of them is pretty bad, but most of them are fine for this. So this is what we have. Show it in the white bowl. This is what we have so far, and I have more beads on one side than I do the other. And that bead, pretty big chip out of the bottom. I don't have as many of the pink as I thought to do this. Granted, I have not put the gray ones in between every bead, and I still have different numbers here. Pink and gray, pink and gray. I mean, it's a chunky bracelet for sure. And I don't have to use all the wire that's here, but I'm not so sure I should limit myself to these just because they're gray. I have gray beads here. I have silver beads here. So instead of including these just because they're gray, I guess what I'm thinking is that these are taking away from the pink stones. They're dominating. So I like the idea of the pink and, quote, gray, or in this case, I might be changing here over to silver. I think silver is the way to go, and smaller beads is the way to go. I am checking to see how these 3 look together. They look fine. Let's add one of these on each side. Now that pink beads are the focal point, this is what we have. I could keep alternating the pink and the silver. I don't have enough pink to go all the way around. I also have these I can finish off with for a smaller band underneath. And I like how this darker pink is in the center. I do like that. What happens if we put 3 of these on each side? Wow. You know what? Let's see, what do we have here? I've got 4 over here. I've got 3, 6, 7, 8 of these. How many do I have left? 3, 6, 8. Are you thinking, oops, don't get out there. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? No, I'm not thinking about making earrings. Sorry. I might make some earrings, but mostly this is about bracelets. I am thinking I'm going to try adding these, but I got to be careful that they don't go into the hole of this bead and disappear. Okay, they're not going anywhere. And I know these are irregular in size, but I didn't notice it before on the other bracelet, so I'm not so sure why it would matter here. I do have to make sure, though, that the hole is large enough to get this wire through. Sometimes it is large enough, and sometimes not. Just keep trying the beads. I think it's time to cue music while I finish adding these beads.
Sun comes shining through. When wearing my rose-colored glasses, the world looks shiny and new. The skies are ever so blue. I'm happy through and through. When wearing my rose-colored glasses, I tell you what I see. You are still here with me. When I'm feeling lonely, I'm putting my glasses on.
Okay, I decided to work with this a little bit off camera because it was taking a while to get these little beads on here because some of the holes didn't work, but a lot of them did work. And so where I am now, I need to allow at least 1/4 of an inch to make the final loop at the end of each wire. And I was going for trying to match up here that the small beads pretty much ended in the same place. In other words, at the bottom of the larger round bead, that's where my small beads are ending. So I think I've got it. I think I'm happy with it. I just need to make my loop. And you can either use round nose pliers to do that, but I have a little looping tool, and I like to use the smallest part of the looping tool. I found the large part is just way too large for this. And you can make your loop either go in towards the center or you can curl it back. I think I'm going to curl it back. I also need to think about how I'm holding this because I want to just temporarily turn my wrist away. I mean, I can bring this upwards. I don't have to turn my wrist too far. And I am going to check that for sharpness. That is fairly sharp. This tool is a combination of 2 different tools. I'll put a link for these 2 components to make this. It's called, I know part of this is a micro engraver, but then I have a burr tool on the end. Okay, now putting this where this wire is flush, getting a good grip, and then I'm rolling it to the outside. And you got to make sure it's closed. And I am hoping that I'm okay with the fact that I did not put a small round bead at the end. I don't want these little beads to cause a problem. So make sure it's really closed well. I think I'm okay. Looks okay. So now I just push the beads down. Make sure they're pushed down all the way. And can you see I have far more than 1/4 of an inch? Well, I'm going to go ahead and cut part of that off with my memory wire cutters. And I'm going to do this over my trash cans so I don't have to worry about covering my eyes. So I'll be right back. For what it's worth, I did close my eyes when I did that. I can't tell you how helpful this looping tool is. I didn't always have one, and I really like it. And I'm just checking again. Oh, that bead, that one little bead is wanting to slip into my loop. You know, sometimes I put a little round bead here. That means I don't have it closed far enough. Give it another turn. We have a beautiful, pretty pink and gray bracelet. And I only used 5 of the beautiful stone beads. So what am I going to do with these others? I mean, one of them I can't use at all. I think it's this one. But I do have those and these. Well, I can tell you this. Here's bracelet number 1 with these beautiful pink stones. In fact, if you haven't noticed yet, I made one for myself, along with a pair of earrings and even a tiny pendant with the last stone that was left. Let's move on to bracelet number 2. Need some more memory wire. The nice thing about memory wire is if you want to gift a bracelet to someone and you don't know their wrist size, they're pretty much one size fits most. I mean, again, if you have a very tiny wrist, see if you can find some child size memory wire. Should we go ahead and make a chunky bracelet? Should we? With these silver beads, and we have a black bead. We know we're keeping the pink one set aside. But you know what? It needs a little something. It needs a little bling or something, doesn't it? What if we add some rhinestone rondelles? I'm not sure if it's going to look okay or not, but we won't know if we don't try. And you'll find a link for these below the video. I have 2 cases. I think sometimes I forget to tell you. I have this case that has the gold and silver in it and all the multicolors. We got blue, green, aqua, pink, black, iridescent. And then I have a case of just gold and silver. And I do keep rubber bands around these. Make sure I don't accidentally knock them off and have them open. So I don't know if a little bling is going to work in this. Won't know till I try. Everything's an experiment. Does a little bling go a long way? Are you ready to take a look? Yeah, I think a little bit of bling goes a long way. Let's add one more of these. Here. Oh, I added one last one. Get on there. I've got the rhinestone rondelles around each of the black beads. And yes, I think a little bit of bling goes a long way, but I still think I might be able to do a little more here. Let's try again. This is the first try. It's definitely chunky, and that's okay. I mean, but you know, also what I see is happening is because the beads are so wide in diameter, it's pushing it out from my wrist, which is actually stretching out the memory wire a little bit too. Do you see? It's kind of distorted it a little bit. I don't know. I think that these are getting lost on the side. They're too far away from the center one. I either go with just one or I move these closer to the top because they're getting lost on the side. So I'm backing down to the top center bead. I don't really have any other colors. Well, I mean, I have these, but I was thinking they could make a bracelet on their own. I don't know, though. What happens if I just incorporate a couple of these? Very irregular. And I guess because of that, I need to try to have 2 around the same size. I do like black and red together. That almost looks like a little foot. I'm going to take that off and try to find another one. 2 that complement each other. Okay, I actually like that. I think now we're talking. Let's add the bling, the rhinestone rondelle, and then the other large black bead and a rhinestone rondelle. Same thing on the other side. Rhinestone rondelle, large black bead. And I guess I could let you know if you want to duplicate this. These are pretty good sized black beads. I'm guessing 15 millimeter. 15 millimeter on the black bead, and the saucer bead, it's 14. 14 millimeter on the black bead, and the saucer bead is 14. So 14 and 14, pretty good size, but a good use of some of your larger beads. I actually really like that little punch of red. What a difference that makes. We don't even have to put red anywhere else in here. Just that little bit, and it has black veining in it. Does the trick. Now the question is, do I want to finish with these saucer beads? You know, I haven't incorporated them anywhere in here. And I know that it's going to stretch out the memory wire a little bit. Is there any relationship now between these and here? I don't think there is. I think I need more beads. I need one more bracelet to work with because I'm not ready to go to something this small. I need more beads. Help me out here. I like what I have, but I didn't like the saucer beads. Even though these have veining in them too, I think I just need to accept the fact that I need to pull out something else to finish up around the wrist. I'm into my stash of black beads from vintage to new. I guess there's always seed beads. And then I have these glass beads. Those would look pretty. I've got 2 strands, so something like that would look nice. I have these little crystals. I would add some bling. More black crystals. I have some round beads. These are Cousin brand. They feel like glass beads. How does the black match? Not bad. So that's a possibility. Not seeing anything else in here. So I think I'm between these or the round. I think I'm going to go with the round. The takeaway from this is don't limit yourself. Even though you might also like to take on the challenge of upcycling several bracelets and not incorporating anything else, it's a fun idea, but it doesn't always work out perfectly. Sometimes you've got to get into other beads. Don't limit yourself. Beads, beads everywhere, bead. Let's finish this up. Check our pattern. Just a little hint of red with black veining, 3 of the large round beads, rondelle spacers in between, and now we're ready for finishing it off with small round beads. And these look like they're 8mm. And here's the number 8. They're 8mm. I'm going to go ahead and clip off the other end so I'm not at risk of my beads falling off the other end while I'm working. These are just alligator clips. You could pick these up probably any craft or hobby store. The ones that I found on Amazon are really large, and I didn't really want to recommend those, so I've had mine for a long time. These beads are new, but they're a little bit dusty. It's time to count our beads. We want the same amount of beads on each side. And as I said, these were a little bit dusty, probably from drilling the hole. So let's count these beads. We've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And over here, turning it upside down, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So what if I put 11 on each side? 11 is really pushing it. Doesn't give me a lot of wire left over to make my loop at the end. I need about 1/4 inch. I don't need a lot, but I'm thinking I want to add a small silver bead here at the end, or a medium silver bead, 6mm. Remove 1 bead from each side and add a small round silver plated bead. That means I'll be cutting away some of the excess wire. And I'm rolling it to the outside. Okay, make sure it's closed. If it goes a little cattywampus on you, well, just take your flat nose pliers and straighten it up. We know we need to trim this back to about 1/4 inch. Let's just go ahead and do that. I'm going to do that over my trash can using my memory wire cutters. And you don't have to do this if you don't want to. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. Just depends on how sharp it feels to me. Okay, let's make our loop. If you need to, just straighten it out a little bit. All right, I think it's good. And I could even add a charm at the end. There we go, bracelet number 2. I'm so glad I incorporated the red. What a difference that made. I don't even know if these are going to end up in a bracelet yet. So far they haven't. And here we have the classic black and red with some rhinestone rondelles separating some of the beads. So this is bracelet number 2. Let's move on to the next bracelet. We have these beads, we have memory wire, and we have these. I can kind of see these colors going together, but these have 2 holes. That's the challenge here, 2 holes on those. So I might try something that I've never done before, which is try to work with 2 with memory wire. I don't know if I can do that. Obviously, there are companies out there who can work with many pieces of memory wire and make a bracelet. I'm just not sure if I can do it. I won't know if I don't try, and you won't know if you don't try. So let's do the same thing we've been doing. Let's kind of cut 1.5 rounds approximately. Oop, didn't mean for that to go flying. And let's cut 2 of those. This is either going to work or it's not. Do you have faith in me? Not everything I attempt works, that's for sure. No, it doesn't. That's why sometimes it takes me a while to actually release a video that maybe I started, a month or so before, because I'm just not happy with what I'm coming up with. So I just set it aside, I walk away and try again. I guess the very first thing we need to see is what happens if we put 2 pieces of wire through these beads? In other words, there's 1 piece of memory wire through the hole. I think it's going to feel very awkward to work with, and there's 2. Now, look how awkward it seems already. I don't want to stretch out my wire. We did it, but how will it work when it comes to curving around? And I guess I have to decide that's the bottom and the uneven side is at the top. That's kind of what it looks like. We have all these pretty beads. I'm going to attempt to work with 2 wires at a time. I'm trying to get this lined up so that I have 2 ends that are fairly even, if you know what I mean. Oh, no, what happened here? I thought that I had the raised side on the outside, but do you see here? I have the raised part in the middle. So I've already started out wrong. Okay, we'll start again. If you can't laugh at yourself, then I don't know what to say, because making jewelry is a design process. It doesn't just all go fine. And why do I have 2 pieces of wire? How did that happen? Are you kidding me? There. Okay, I can flip that one to the outside. Texture on the outside. Dimension on the outside. Flat on the inside. Maybe I'll add a couple beads first after all. And those beads might be these. I like these orange ones. Let's put one on each side. Now, I want you to know, I did not buy these bracelets all together at the same time and had any plans to do this. See what's happening here? The wire is showing. So we need some smaller beads closer to the shells. That's what I'm thinking. But on the other hand, I don't want to get these too far apart. I don't want to space them too far apart. I mean, it might look okay. So what do we have for options? We've got the little seed beads. We've got spacer beads. We've got these little balls, which are kind of cute. But these can move around from the top to the inside. But we have those, and we have the little balls. We have the orange beads. Oh, we have these little faux amber beads, I guess, almost like resin looking. And we have the seed beads, and then we have a couple little bicone beads. But I'm not sure how many we have of each piece. Let's add the faux amber. Faux, probably resin. Something to help. Well, it's not completely hiding the wire. Try the bicone bead. The bicone bead does a better job. I'm saying I didn't want to get these very far apart, but it kind of looks like I'm putting them far apart. All right, this is what I'm thinking. Instead of trying to put these all the way around the wrist like it was before, maybe we just start with a nice focal point on top and then see what happens after that. So I'm adding some of these orange beads. I've got the bicone bead, then the orange bead. Let's add another one of these mother of pearl shell beads, and I could add a nicer size one, this larger one, in the center. I guess it doesn't really have a strong top or bottom, but I can see that this has a lot of the lighter mother of pearl on the bottom, so I guess maybe I need to pick out my 3 favorites. They're getting really far apart, and I do like the looks of these when they're fairly close together. Oh, you see how the angle is changing? They're kind of like going together like this. That might be an issue when I go to add the other wire, because these are all drilled slightly different. All right, plan B. Instead of adding the orange bead, let's just add shell bead next. Again, my concern is whether I'm going to be able to fit the other wire in between these. I guess I'm going to try for 5, but I'm going to go a little smaller on these now. Here goes nothing. So awkward, you know? I don't know where to begin. I guess I'll just begin right here. I'm kind of working upside down. Find the hole, add the bicone bead, and then go through the next one. I don't think this is going to work. I just don't think the curvature of everything is going to work. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, because I hope it works, but I won't be surprised. Putting a bicone after each one. If I get a little bit quiet here, it's just because I'm very focused. I think I've got it. I do. I think I've got it. I'm going to stop there with the shell beads and just finish off each wire with something. I do like the orange beads, but if I can, how many of these bicones do I have left? 4. A small bicone on this side. I guess I only needed 2 to match the other side, what I have. Now, let's get to just beading. I'm going to add an orange round bead. Trying to work both sides at the same time. I might be better off if I just finished one side. And then let's add some faux amber. Why not? Maybe 3 little pieces. This is what I have so far. And then I'm just going to work one side. And then let's add this little copper bead. It's got a large hole. And then let's go with these 3 little dangle beads. 3 of those. You know what? I'm going to add those instead of the copper round bead because I don't want those to be along the side too far. So I'm going to add them now. And I'm adding 3. It's probably the only time I'll use these in this bracelet, meaning, you know, per side. Now let's add another orange bead. Show you what we've got so far. And then let's go back to the amber, faux amber, 3 per side. Now I've got to make sure I have enough of everything to do this because basically I'm making 2 bracelets in one. That's what I have so far. It's looking pretty. I think I'm probably pushing the wire out a little bit. Oh gosh, what I want to do, one more. I gotta make sure I have enough beads for both sides. Gathering the beads for the other side so that I don't run out. The only other thing I have left are really seed beads. I mean, I have these, but I'm not going to put these in here right now. I think I'm going to stop here on this side. Bring these 2 together if I can. I don't know if that's going to hold. And I'm going to work on the other side. So I'll speed this up and play some music as I repeat this pattern on this side. I just discovered I don't have enough amber to do the other end of the bracelet, not by putting 3 again here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clip this and I'm going to change the pattern here and only put 2 amber per side and then the copper. Over here I can add 2 amber per side. What this really feels like inside out, they never would have guessed. I still have quite a bit of wire to fill and kind of running out of options. Take a second and see what I really have left here. How's that? So this is what I have left. Several of the orange beads. I'm just going to have to change up the pattern. This is what I've done around the bottom. Just stop here. Hope my clip will keep these on here. You know, I'm going to have to make 4 loops when it comes to that point. I'm going to repeat this pattern, which is basically alternating. It's almost time to make the loops on one of these ends and just call it. Just say this is as far as I'm going with it because I just lost some of my beads. The thing is, once you do the loop on the memory wire, if you have to change anything, you either have to start completely over or you have to cut your loop off and start over. I'm going to start finishing this. I'm just going to do it. I just happen to have 4 of these bicone beads left. Okay, now that I've made a commitment to that end, I'm going to push the beads down and around. It's really important that everything is pushed around. And then I'm going to clip this off, and I'm going to do the same pattern that I did on the other side here, which means I need to alternate the orange bead, the copper, round, orange bead, I had 3 per side, the bicone bead. You could say I'm shortening this up a little bit because I am cutting off a fair amount of wire, but sure, before I do that, I have everything pushed down. I think I do. Oh, I gotta cut it, so down to 1/4 inch, I'm going to do it over my trash can. It gets a little cattywampus, just straighten it out. We're almost there. Are you still with me? You know, designing takes time. It's fun. I absolutely love it. But whenever you try something new, it just takes time. That's all there is to it. So it does require a certain amount of patience. Now, it looks like I have a couple of beads left. I could probably have gone one more bead, but this is my last little bicone bead. I'm glad I allowed as much wire as I did, but I am cutting some of it off over my trash can. Got kind of at an angle. My friends, we did it. We did it. Wait till I show you. Drum roll, please, because this one deserves a drum roll. Look at that. Oh, I do like it. I really do like it. It was worth all the effort, I think anyway. You can still see the wire just a little bit because of the angle of all these shell beads. But you can make even more bracelets when you take one of these apart. But bicone beads are great in between here. I wish I'd had more of the amber. I would have loved to add more of those. And then, of course, the bottom. You really don't see the bottom very much when you wear a bracelet, unless you're like that. So bracelet number 3 is done. Put a stamp on it. I really like it. We did it. The third bracelet was a challenge, was it not? Working with 2 memory wire bracelets side by side, adding the shell in between. I've never done this before, and I will tell you, I would do it again. I would do it again. Now that I know how to work with it, it really was just the shape of the shells that threw me off a little bit. But yeah, we've got some faux amber and the little round beads here. Pretty happy with how it turned out. Let me go ahead and put it on, show you what it looks like. Let's move on to bracelet number 4. We're running out of beads. Yes, I have more shell beads left, but I'm not working with any more of these today. I've got some of the red that I separated. I have some small components here. I'm done with the orange beads. I have these green with brown veining, and I still have these gray. I still have these gray saucers that I'm thinking might be better in a necklace than a bracelet. Oh gosh, I think I'm going to work with these green ones. They have little brown veins in them. And I need some help. Obviously, I can't make a bracelet with just these. I found some wood beads, so I thought, well, maybe I could incorporate some wood with the green. I also found some stone beads that I used in a video where I made a bead weaving bracelet with all different colors of stone, and I had a lot of the green left over. I think those have a possibility. So yes, I'm getting into my bead stash. I'm so happy to have bead stash. And instead of switching over to stringing wire, which of course I could, I'm kind of having fun today just working with memory wire. Plus, I know that pretty much, as I said earlier in the video, one size fits most. And most of these, well, all of these bracelets are going on our eBay store, Avante Avenue. So I'd like to make sure that what I'm making will fit most ladies. Wood and stone, green, brown, tan. We have this just simple wood bead, vintage wood bead. Let's put a stone on each side. I might need to bring in some bling, maybe, or I can just make it look really natural, just really earthy and natural, which might be the direction I go. Not sure if these 2 beads will work or not. They definitely bring in a lighter color. Almost too light, I think. Not use those. Let's just go ahead and take those out of here. Oh, and we have a darker brown. I guess it's the same. Trying to decide what I want the focal point to be. Obviously, the wood beads are the larger of what I have here. I keep changing my mind. I want to see what everything looks like if I change it up. I am liking the wood with the dark green, although I'd like to work the light green in too, because those are what I showed at the beginning of the video, and they pick up the lighter colors in the green stones. Let me think on this a minute. I feel like I want to bring some metal into this. I don't have a lot to work with, but I'm just leaning towards wanting to work in some metal component as well. So let's add this copper component to each side of the wood bead. And maybe I just need a larger wood bead. Maybe that's what I need. Maybe this one is just too small. I'll check my bead stash. I have this one. I think that's a little much, don't you? That's funny. I found this one. It's got really large holes, but, you know, let's see. Oop, it just rolled away from me all the way across the table, but I've got it here. Let's just try brown wood beads. Very natural looking for the focal point of the bracelet. Unless these are super tight, I don't think there's a real good way to make sure that we cover the whole of the large bead. But don't give up on me yet, and they'll just need to be pushed together really tight. So let's say we do that, and let's go to a little bit of the metal, the copper, and then work in a green bead, green stone bead, and then the light green, picking out the ones that have a bunch of veining, although it varies per bead. And then a dark green bead. And these stone beads are not perfectly the same size, but I don't think that's an issue. Let's do another light green. And maybe we should have added in another wood bead by now. I think so. Let's change this up a little bit. Let's add a wood bead, and then the light green on the other side of it, and then the dark green. So mixing green and brown and tans and a variety of colors. Let's work in a copper bead. Probably not going to use these little balls here. That's supposed to be a copper bead. Let's slow down, take a look at this. I know that the light green is really standing out, but it does have the brown veining in it, and it does make some of the other beads pop. I guess I'm going to change the pattern. I'm going to go back to here. I'm actually really liking these darker colors together and not liking sort of a mint green, a blue green in here. I did not expect this to happen. I really wanted to incorporate these because I showed you these at the beginning. Maybe I'm going to make 2 bracelets here because I'm really liking the direction that this one is going. So I'm going to keep going with it because it has a really nice earthy color to it. I like it, and I'm going to keep working in some of the wood beads. I definitely like the wood bead up here. To here the pattern is the same. It's a matter of what I want to go with after that. I'm going to add another dark green bead to each side. And then the wood bead to each side. And the dark green. See, this is why I hold on to everything. That's why I have so many beads in my bead stash. Is because, you know, why wouldn't I hold on to it and see if I can work it in someday. It's been a while since I used these. This is where I am, and I really like it. I really like the earthy colors of everything. Let's just check the pattern. I need to finish off with something. I've got quite a ways to go here. I can either finish off with the green beads. I don't know if I have enough of them because there's some other colors in here too. I've got some red. I thought it was all green, but now that I'm looking closely here, I have other colors. And the funny thing is I do have some with that lighter green in it. They all have a little hint of lighter green. I just wasn't liking this in contrast to all the warm colors. This was just too light. How do we want to finish this? I do have to push the beads close together because of the large hole in that top bead. I'll think about it for just a second here. I have a few small tube beads, wood tube beads. I haven't used them in the upper part, but maybe it's time to use them down here. I tend to think of the beads that go underneath the wrist on a memory wire bracelet as being just kind of filler beads. Just got to fill it up around the rest of the wrist within reason. I'm going to clip this off. I'm liking this better than going with the tiny little seed beads. I like it a lot more. I don't even know what these came off of, but they came off of something that I took apart. I'm pretty much there. And by doing this, I've incorporated the wood all the way around the wrist in a different shape, but we have lights and darks here. I think I'm going to go with that. I just need to make sure I have my pattern the same. I didn't know that I was going to be making a wood bracelet today, but it just went that direction and I really like it. It's very earthy looking with the mix of beads. So bracelet number 4. Next up is what number? Well, I think you know. And make sure to watch all the way to the end of the video because I'm going to recap everything that we made today in this video so that you can vote. Yes, I invite you to vote for your favorite bracelet. And how do you vote? Well, you just leave a comment and put number 1, 2, or 1 and 3, or 4 and 5, whatever you like. Let's move on to bracelet number 5. Let's just try every other one. A light green. These dark greens have some red in them. Light green. Repeat the pattern and see if it's doable. Nothing says that we have to have a focal point every time. Focal point bead like I've done on most of these. Although I do like the look. Getting low on beads here, getting into the ones that have the red, more red than green. If I use them all. Oh, I've got one more bead in my bag. I think we're going to call it right there. Stone and stone, and some of the beads have some red. Most of them have the green. I just need a finishing bead. I think I'll use a little silver bead for the end. Just looking around to make sure. I guess I found one more bead here. Looking around to make sure I haven't misplaced any because I want to use all of them. Let's do it. Okay, simple. Yep, it's simple. Can't argue with that. But it's pretty. It has various shades of green. It has some red. It has the lighter green beads with the brown veining. There you go. Bracelet number 5 turned out to be a very simple bracelet. Very simple pattern. But it has some pretty colors in it. Different shades of green with a little bit of red. So that's bracelet number 5. We've got one more to go. So keep watching. We have these little red nuggets, stone with some black veining. I used 2 of them in this bracelet, and I think we can do something with these. I'll probably have to incorporate some other beads, but let's do it. And I had shown you these earlier in the video, and I think they're going to look pretty cool with this. These are 2.8 millimeter by 7 millimeter black cat's eyes. This to me looks like the largest bead out of all of them. Can I work in any of these little spacer beads? Maybe one on either side, as long as we can get the wire through.
What's the angle? I'm not playing that game. It's the same business with a different name.
I'm just going to alternate for now and see if I like the look. When I cut the memory wire, that could have smashed this end just a little bit. That must have been some very thin wire. In fact, maybe it wasn't even memory wire that they used for the original bracelet that I took these from. I assumed it's memory wire, but maybe it's not, or it's extra thin. So boy, if I decide to add one of these after every single bead, that might be challenging because I just want a little hint of bling. But I'll stop here in just a minute and see if I even like it.
Sorry, I'm not in the market. If I quit buying, you can't sell me anything.
Like little nuggets. This was my focal point, this one here that's so crazy looking. Do I like the little silver bead in between? No. I draw that. No, I don't. As I say, don't be afraid to change direction. 2 wires caught again.
No thanks, I'll pass. I don't want any of that. I'll just take my chances.
Let's try the other side.
No thanks, not now. I made it this far somehow.
Kind of liking that. Doing 3 of the cat-size saucer beads. And then a nugget. It's probably nugget, not nougat. I think nougat is something you find in a candy bar. And that must mean that I'm getting hungry for my snack.
I'll just take my chances.
I'm kind of liking this simple pattern. It's just 3 of these and 1 of the chunky red beads. That's the fun part about making these. They don't have to be difficult. Yes, I tried some things today that were a little more challenging for me. You know, I pushed myself outside of my comfort zone, you know, to make this one. And I'm glad I did because now I know it can be done. At least it worked with what I used today. Oh, get back on there. I need my clips. See, I'm trying to go to town here on both sides. And it's time to slow down and get a clip. Get yourself some clips. Alligator clips. If you like the larger ones on Amazon, go for it. I do have, you know, affiliate links below the video for my tools and supplies and things like that. Anything I can suggest for you, I have those links in the description below the video. You have to be on a phone. You have to be on your smartphone or laptop or iPad or something to access the description box below the video. It's not below the video on YouTube. They haven't figured that one out yet. It would be nice. Maybe someday they will. But they haven't accomplished that yet. Okay, I do have this focal point here. So I don't want to get too far along on this side because I'm keeping this crazy looking one here as my focal point.
Collective pressure. It's about time for another lecture. You do it too. If you knew what's good for you.
Again, if this is my focal point, I have 3, 4, 5, 6 over here. 1, 2. How did I do that? Oh, goodness sakes. 5 saucer beads on here. Okay, from my focal point, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From my focal point here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I can add a few more beads.
Future minded. It's not much for peace of mind, my friend. If I quit buying.
Again, my focal point bead, I'm counting. From there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red beads. On the other side, from my focal point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red beads. So I am ready to finish this up. I just need to decide what I'm putting at the end. And I think I'm just going to go with little silver beads here. Just checking that. That feels pretty good. Need my looping tool. Push the beads down and around. Forgot to put the silver bead on there. Okay, I'm just not going to put the silver bead on there. Don't have to do it. Nothing says I have to do it, so I'm leaving it off. But no one knows except for you that I was originally going to put a silver bead there. And it's done. This crazy looking one at the top center. I really did try to use as many beads as I could from the original bracelets, and that's why I came up with this, using up these unusual shaped red stone beads. I did use the little cat-sized spacer beads, little saucer beads, but again, classic black and red, and I'm sure there's someone out there that loves these colors. Before I show you the recap of everything that we made today so that you can vote, let's take a quick look at the bracelets that I started with at the beginning of this video. Do you even remember what they looked like? I can hardly remember what they looked like because all I have in front of me now are the finished ones. But let's recap so that you can pick your favorite or favorites and vote. I really hope that this video inspires you to get out your bead stash or maybe get into your jewelry box and find some of those old stretch elastic bracelets and take a look at them and consider upcycling them into something new. Just take them apart like I did in this video. Put them in your little piles or little dishes and just study them for a little bit. Sometimes it helps to walk away and come back and just have fun with it. My videos are for inspiration, and that's what I hope your takeaway is today. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Vicki, and I'll see you in the next video. Well, sometimes you see me in the video, and sometimes I'm behind the scenes, but you know, I'll see you sometime soon. And remember, a thumbs up. It really helps the channel, and thank you for that.